Not right now. We've had productive conversations with both the representatives. Saquon going all the way back to November, and we'll continue to do so. But there's not priority on one or the other.
All right, Giants fans, welcome back to Big Blue Record Group Podcast. It's your host, Zeke. Hey, we're going to be reacting to Joe Schoen's press conference. He's going to dive into Giants' upcoming 2020-23 season. Let's jump right into it.
Continue to communicate with them. Some of it's was in person and then over the phone, and then yesterday was in person, and it'll be in person again today. So, yeah, we'll continue to hammer out, try to get closer to getting something done, hopefully.
Is there a order of operations dealing with the quarterback and dealing with the running back, like a star running back, like Saquon?
Not right now. We've had productive conversations with both the representatives. Saquon going all the way back to November, and we'll continue to do so. But there's not priority on one or the other.
You don't have to get the Daniel Jones thing done before you know what you're going to do with
No, not necessarily.
All right, so first things up, Joe Schoen was asked about Barkley and Jones. Who do you sign, who you not sign, who you let walk? Both of them, to me, come as a pair. And that's what I think Joe Schoen is saying. Just because we might sign Daniel Jones doesn't mean we're not going to sign Saquon Barkley. They've been in talks with both of their camps since the end of last year, even Saquon Barkley in the middle of November last year. So he's going to try to sign both of them, but I do believe that he needs to be set at a number, especially with Barkley, him being a running back. And I think there's a line in the sand that he's not going to go across when it comes to Barkley. But in this case right here, yes, you're trying to sign Jones and Barkley. It's not one or the other. I think they go hand in hand.
That was something personal that Daniel wanted to do. Again, I didn't really get into it, but we had never had any conversations with CAA. We didn't. They have no idea what value we thought. I have no idea what they would ask. Like, that was totally separate. We have a great relationship with CAA, great relationship with Athletes First. We had just never even embarked on any type of negotiations, numbers, anything. That was just something, Daniel decided to do on his own. And then once, there was a separation, then, we started talking with Athletes First, once that had been done.
Joe, are you optimistic about getting deals done with both of them?
Yeah, I would say cautiously optimistic. I mean, it's again, you have to go through hard times before you come out the other end on better times with negotiations. So we're trying to work through it. Obviously, we'd like to have them both back. They know how we feel about both of them, and again, we're still working through it.
I love that answer by Joe Schoen when it comes to Saquon Barkley and Daniel Jones. He said we're cautiously optimistic, meaning, yes, we want them both back, but at what price we will not go forward. All right, at what price will we have them back? We're not going to push all our chips to the table when it comes to Daniel Jones. To be honest with you, it's kind of an average quarterback. All right, one thing I don't want to be as a Giants fan going into next year is that we got Kirk Cousins, okay? What that means when you got Kirk Cousins is Kirk Cousins stole from the Commanders and the Vikings and still produce mediocre results. Like, he's getting paid $40 million to do what? To get bounced in the first round by an inferior Giants team? I'm not paying $40 million for that. So I like what Joe is saying is we're optimistic. Yes, we want them back. But are we willing to break the bank for them? No. And that's the correct answer from a GM. Let them walk. Never go to the negotiating table without knowing that you will walk away from the deal. Let them walk if we need to.
How much urgency is there to at least get one of them done before the tag deadline?
There is, but it's got to be right for both parties. I mean, it's there's, again, I say it all the time with you guys. If-then scenarios, we're going through those. So if it gets out of hand and it's out of our comfort zone, we have the tag. We can only tag one player. We'll use that, and if somebody's got to walk, then it's unfortunate, but that's a part of the business, and we're still building a team. And
boom, there you go again. We can only use one franchise tag on one player. Who is it going to be? Is it going to be Barkley or is it going to be Jones? I think it's going to be Jones that gets franchise tag and Barkley gets signed. Because the franchise tag this year for quarterbacks is now about $30 million. I think Daniel Jones is about $25-30 million quarterback anyways. So again, Joe Schoen is really Joe Schoen is doing an awesome job, in my opinion, at being a GM and using his brain. Do not overpay for Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley, especially Daniel Jones. Don't overpay. He's an average quarterback. Do not give him top tier money for average performance. He played well this season. He did. 2022, good year, but does not warrant a huge contract. Good job on Joe Schoen so far.
That's important to keep in mind. No. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, I mean, we have a lot of options. Yeah, we have a lot of options.
Joe, Saquon's made clear that he sees himself in Daniel as
Yeah.
work so well together. Do you see them that way?
Yeah, I would love to have them both back. Yeah, I think they work well with each other. Their entire careers in the NFL, they've been together. I do think they complement each other well, and we're trying to. We've had productive conversations with both the representatives, and the goal is to hopefully get something done.
People talk about Saquon, sometimes we go back to injuries, that kind of thing, the longevity of a running back.
Mm-hmm.
But do you, in your mind, see him as more valuable than quote-unquote just what he does on the football field?
No, I mean, I think in the negotiations, you take all that into account, or you wouldn't approach the player on a contract extension. So, yeah, I mean, Walter Payton, Man of the Year, I love that about him, but you also got to look at production, durability, games played, production versus other comps throughout the league, and that's usually where they land from a financial standpoint. And, you got to draw a line in the sand, like we're not going any further, and if it goes past this, all right, let's shift to plan B. And hopefully we don't get to that, but we went through all those plans.
Great question by the reporter right here. She pretty much asked, are you only looking at production, or are you looking at things outside of production? That's why he brought up Walter Payton Man of the Year. We're talking about Saquon Barkley here. He's a real leader. And again, Saquon Barkley is the type of guy you want in your locker room. He's the type of guy that's going to lead your franchise. Really been a face of our franchise for the past 5 years. Saquon Barkley is a hell of a man. But listen to what he said right there. He said, we're going to draw a line in the sand and we're not going past it. Do as you must with that, but we're not going past that dollar amount. That is huge. That's what you want from a GM. He knows how to build a team. That's what I'm getting at right here. Like Dave Gettleman, he has some good picks. I'll give it to him. Saquon Barkley, Dexter Lawrence, Andrew Thomas. He has some real key picks. Julian Love. He has some real Xavier McKinney. He has some real good picks, but he was in love and infatuated with Saquon Barkley. That he wasn't going to trade the number 2 pick that year to get something else or get more compensation for him. Joe Schoen is willing to let Saquon Barkley walk if the demands aren't met on our side. If you think you go get $14 million from a different team, see you later. It's not happening here. I love that about Joe Schoen. Big ups to Joe Schoen for that. You can't get no better from a GM than doing that. Yeah, this is a little hardball. This is business. But goddamn it, right now, we're playing poker. And Joe Schoen has his poker face on. Do you think he wants to lose Saquon Barkley? Fuck no. Saquon Barkley's top 5 running back. But is he willing to walk from the table if the number's too high? Fuck yes. He's doing it right. That's how you fucking build the team. We need other weapons, obviously. We have so many holes that we need to fill in this roster. Giving all your money to a running back will kill you. It will kill your team. So he's playing hardball right now, and I like it.
Joe, if have Daniel on the tag, that change how you look at quarterbacks in this draft class if you have it on 1 year versus if you have a multi-year deal worked out with it?
No, I don't think so. We're going to try to get Daniel done. Again, we wouldn't be in this situation and negotiating with Daniel if we didn't want him to be our quarterback.
Joe, last year, in your job, you had to make a lot of decisions about letting the players go.
Mm-hmm.
How different is the job now getting with guys that you built a relationship with, that you don't want to see go, but you have to have that same hard conversation?
Yeah, that's the unfortunate part of this business because, it was a special season last year. It was Dave's and I's first year, and we did become close with a lot of the players, and they all worked hard. We had very good team chemistry, from day one when we got in there in the off-season program. So you appreciate the hard work that they put in every day. You appreciate the guys playing through injury, putting in the extra to execute the assignments. So there is a personal, part of this, and there's a business side. So, I mean, there may be some players that we don't, get back because of financial reasons or we couldn't agree on something. But that definitely doesn't change the way we think about them or, the love and respect that we have for those guys.
No mistake about it. This team performed well last year, 9-7-1. I think we played all our starters against the Philly team. Then we go 10-7-1. But regardless, Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen squeezed out as much of the juice as you could possibly squeeze out last year with this roster. Make no mistake about it, this roster is full of holes. We are far away from being the Philadelphia Eagles. We do not have a complete team. You have to understand that. This roster was decimated last year. Not by injury, but by talent. Like Jahad Ward, love him as a leader. He played his ass off. Great effort. That's not who you want to be starting every week. Big Cat Williams, love his effort, love his tenacity. He's borderline not really a starter anymore. Julian Love him as a leader. Fabian Moreau, good team player, but not a starting cornerback. You have a lot of people on this roster who are great leaders and good football players, but are not starters. Good team effort. Daboll got the best he could out of this roster. But if he wants to make it to the next level, which is conference championship and then Super Bowl, it has to be an upgrade at almost every position on this team. So yeah, we're going to have a lot of different names come next year because you just can't win with the guys that you had last year. I'm sorry. Feliciano. Like some of these guys, they're just not great starters. And you saw it when it came to the Eagles. Bust our ass 3 times in 1 year. Cowboys swept us. Like, we can't put that type of talent back on the football field and say we're improving. No. What they're doing, what Joe Schoen and Daboll is doing, they're taking the emotions out of it. It's what you should do. We got to the divisional round playoffs last year. That's great. But can we get further with the exact same team next year? No. And we'll probably decrease next year if we had the same exact roster. We probably might not even make the playoffs. We got the most we could out of those guys. But it's time to move on from a lot of those people. To be honest with you, some of the guys that we cheer for, that we clap for, that we praise are kind of replaceable when it comes to a talent standpoint. They are. We need help on corner. We need a goddamn linebacker, please. Can we get a fucking linebacker? The interior of our O-line needs help. I don't know what we're going to do with Julian Love as a safety. We need, like I told you, another corner. We also need wide receivers. We need some fucking help with this roster right here. It's devoid of talent. A lot of other key points I didn't address here was he talked about building through the draft, which obviously you don't want to throw all your eggs into free agency. You really need to build the core of your roster through the draft, re-sign those players, and then on top of that, add players through free agency. That's how you really want to build a roster. He talked about guys like Kayvon Thibodeau, how he came along late. He had a tough year with injury at first. But other than that, it was a lot of Saquon Barkley and Daniel Jones questions. And that's going to be the root of this all season. What we're going to do with Saquon, what we're going to do with Daniel Jones coming up to free agency, which is only 2 weeks away. So y'all hit the likes button. Y'all hit the subscribe button. Y'all hit the comments as well because I got more videos about the Giants coming up, especially with free agency coming in just 2 more weeks. All right, Giants fan, this was Big Blue Red and Crew Podcast with your host, Zeke. Hey, as always, like, comment, subscribe. This was Joe Schoen, Reaction Press Conference. Let me know in the comments what y'all think we're going to do. All right, this is Zeke with Big Blue Red Crew Podcast. I'm out. Peace.